Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out the tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA, Prime, Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Hell, wait till you have those half-pound Wagyu Prime burgers. Best I've ever had. Most definitely, they'll probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out again at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, big welcome in, everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. All of our independents as well. Thanks for joining us. Also, Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, and independent cable operators, plus hotel TV and a whole lot of rooms, over 500,000. And everybody's streaming on Pick Your Favorite streaming platform and Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook as well. Check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Have you ever seen those third jerseys? And pick your favorite sport, whether it's basketball or baseball or whatnot. Actually, stay away from hockey with that because it's primarily what I'm after is basketball and baseball. So there are these City Connect jerseys. So the whole idea of this whole City Connect thing, well, let's just go ahead and take it right from the source. City Connect is a brand name for a line of alternate uniforms made, of course, by who? Nike. For Major League Baseball teams. Now, the uniforms feature different color schemes, typeface, and graphic elements compared with the team's typical home and away uniforms. So the uniforms are designed to reflect the cultural aspects of each team's home city. Now, of course, according to the agreement, teams may rotate in a new jersey after 3 years to debut a new look. So basically, when those things get sold out, they get old or whatnot. I mean, in my opinion, boy, those San Diego Padres City Connect jerseys are absolutely atrocious, as I see it. Nonetheless, of the 30 Major League Baseball teams, 28 actually have these City Connect uniforms. Of course, the Yankees do not have an alternate, and the Athletics do not have an alternate as well. Of course, maybe in a couple of years or in a few years when they're in Las Vegas, maybe they'll have one. But right now, it's the Yankees and the A's. They do not have them. Everybody else does. Now, Nike and Major League Baseball introduced their first round of City Connect uniforms way back in the time machine in 2021 for 7 teams. It would be the Boston Red Sox, the Miami Marlins, the Chicago White Sox, Chicago Cubs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the San Francisco Giants, and the LA Dodgers. Now, a second round debuted during the 2022 season for another 7 teams, being the Washington Nationals, Houston Astros, Kansas City Royals, Colorado Rockies, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of Orange County, the Orange Curtain of the Santa Ana Riverbed of Interstate 5, with a rock pile out in center field. That would be the Angels. The Milwaukee Brewers, and of course the Padres, which I mentioned. Now, a third during the 2023 season, a third round of these jerseys for 6 additional teams. The Atlanta Braves, Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners, Cincinnati Reds, Baltimore Orioles, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And yet a 4th round during the 2024 season for 9 teams. Philadelphia Phillies, New York Mets, you can call them the Metropolitans, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Detroit Tigers, the Cleveland Guardians. Of course, I always want to call them the Indians because that just sounds so much better. Chief Wahoo, it's a shame to see him go. The St. Louis Cardinals, Toronto Blue Jays, Minnesota Twins, you can call them the Twinkies, and yet the Dodgers again. That's the second time for the Dodgers. It's pretty interesting, right? And why is that? Because it's been 3 years. 2021 was the first year the Dodgers had one. So guess what? 2024, let's just kick out another one so we can make more sales. It always comes back to that. There's more money involved. Money. I have to tell you, I'm getting a little tired of it. But show me the money! And I'll show you a new jersey. Anyway, so back in 2021, 7 teams started wearing these City Connect jerseys, as I mentioned. The Arizona Diamondbacks, first design, it was a sand colored with black letters and red numbers with serpientes across the front as an homage to Arizona's Hispanic community. And the uniform was retired after the 2024 season and will be replaced, of course, by a new City Connect uniform. Now, the Boston Red Sox, their first design with a yellow base and blue letters as an homage to the Boston Marathon, which normally takes place on Patriots Day. So, of course, if you don't know about Patriots Day, of course, that's the annual event formalized as a legal holiday or a special observance in 7 U.S. states commemorating the Battle of Lexington, Concord, and Menominee, the inaugural battles of the American Revolutionary War. In case you didn't know, now you do. Now, starting 2025, the yellow City Connect uniforms were added as a regular alternate uniform, and of course, we'll introduce a second City Connect uniform as well. Now, for the Northsiders in Chicago, they have a dark blue with sky blue accents with elements inspired by the flag of Chicago. Now, the uniform has Wrigleyville on the front in a lettering style similar to the Wrigley Field marquee. Now, I can't be mad at that because I was born about 2 miles away from there. So we'll give them a very quick applause. Now, of course, the White Sox on the south side of town, their first design in dark gray shade with white pinstripes and featuring Gothic style lettering as an homage to the south side of Chicago. The uniform was retired after 2024 and will be replaced with a new City Connect uniform soon. Now, the LA Dodgers, why are we talking about it? Because it's different. It's fun. People see them. They're like, what the hell are these things? Maybe I want to get one. Maybe I don't. The LA Dodgers, their first design with a blue cap, jersey, and pants with Los Dodgers written across the cap and jersey. Jerseys include black on the sleeves as a nod to street art culture in Los Angeles. Well, the cap was revised in 2022, moving Los Dodgers to the side, replacing it with a traditional LA logo and adding black to the brim and a button. So in 2023, the white pants with blue piping replaced the blue pants. It's crazy. They just keep selling different jerseys every year. Why not? And before being replaced by a new City Connect jersey the following year. Now, the Miami Marlins, their first design with a red base, white pinstripe, and white letters with a light blue trim as a tribute to the Cuban Sugar Kings. Now, in case you don't know, the Havana Sugar Kings were a Cuban baseball minor league baseball team that played from 1946 to 1960. So from 54 to 1960, they belonged in the Class AAA International League affiliate with Major League Baseball's Cincinnati Reds, in case you didn't know. There's a good bit of trivia that all you people over there in the greater Cincinnati area had no idea, most of you anyway. Now, the uniform was retired after 2024 season and will be replaced, of course, with a new City Connect uniform. And nonetheless, the San Francisco Giants, the very first design, was an orange and white design, a silhouette of the Golden Gate Bridge, I kind of like that one, and a unique fog gradient across the front, the sleeves, and numbering of the jerseys. Now, the uniform was retired last year and will be, of course, replaced by yet another new jersey. Why is it significant? Because think about this. Think about the population that says, we like the traditional jerseys. We dig them. But we want something different. Think about the people that have a Dodger jersey, right? So you've got the world champion, or World Series champion, that is, Los Angeles Dodgers. And maybe you don't want the current jersey. Now, me personally, I like the ones from the 1970s. I have a hat with the ball that's essentially moving, the traveling ball with the lines behind it. I have a Dodgers hat like that, plus the traditional LA hat. But sometimes people want something different. So they'll try to buy what everybody else typically doesn't have. Now, these City Connect jerseys, most of them, in my opinion, are not very good. But people want different. And I've seen some of these different jerseys, and some, I don't like the Astros one because it just says Stros across it. Or Washington's, it just says WSH. Pittsburgh has that, it says PHG on it. And I get it. But ultimately, it's kind of like the Phoenix Suns with their PHX across it. Yeah, okay, that's the airport code for the city of Phoenix. But where's the real value? Why would somebody just want to wear an airport code across their chest? So I'm not really sure about that one. Some of the more creative ones, I must say that the Wrigleyville jerseys from the Northsiders, if you were a Cub fan, it's actually not so bad because it kind of looks like the sign, the big marquee out there in the front of the building. And I don't know, it's pretty artistic. So somebody did a pretty good job on that one. And I don't typically say good things about the Cubs, but that particular item is not so bad. At least it's not a bullseye on their jersey. That's right. All right, folks, when we come back, we're going to continue on with these City Connect jerseys right here on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Could you use a little extra money right now? If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's csncoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out, folks. All right, a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS NBC and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, including our friends over in Atlanta, independent WDJY 99.1 FM. Thanks for waking up with us over there. Thanks for driving home with us over in Auburn, Alabama, WAUD 1230 on the AM dial, home of the Atlanta Braves. And a big welcome into everybody else up and down the Midwest, throughout the West Coast, all the way out to Honolulu. CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, that's home of the Yankees, 49ers, and Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus everybody else listening in on all of our other independents, literally from coast to coast, as well as everybody watching Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, and independent cable television affiliates from coast to coast, Hotel TV, and everybody else on social media. How about on Facebook, Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check it out, folks. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right, back to this City Connect business here with these jerseys. And we talked about the 2021s and whatnot, and there's a whole bunch of, I guess, changes in these uniforms. People want something a little bit different. Yeah, I get it. And look, I have timeless jerseys from way back in the day, even baseball jersey from my beloved Chicago White Sox, who are really in the toilet seemingly every year these days. But nonetheless, they did win a World Series in 2005, and yes, I was there. And at the drop third strike game, for all you that know, against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim of Orange County, the Orange Curtain of Interstate 5, etc., and so forth. That's right. I was at that drop third strike game as well as game one of the World Series. But listen, I still have the same old jerseys. The ones I didn't like from the White Sox past, I really didn't like the one with the guy batter. It's like a 1980s jersey. I did not like it. It just said Sox across it in block letters across the chest, and I just did not like that one at all. And when they had the pigtail hat, it looked like a pig's tail with a C that was in the shape of a C. Didn't really like that either. I like the 50s, 60s, 70s versions. You know, the White Sox used to have a red, or better yet, it was a white jersey with red pinstripes, a red hat. I still have one of those hats. My giant head doesn't really fit into it, if you know what I mean. But nonetheless, the White Sox, they wore that, and they also wore a light blue jersey with red pinstripes as well, for those that don't know. And that was that early 70s version, back when Dick Allen was playing, way back in the day, and Wilbur Wood was playing. And if I'm not mistaken, that was the same time that the great Goose Gossage came up from minor league baseball to play with the Chicago White Sox. And so they've had so many different jerseys over the time, so they don't really need a City Connect jersey, but they do wear one that says Southside on it. We'll get to that in a little bit here. But back to the 7 teams that introduced new Connects in 2021, they'd continue to wear them for select games. Now, 7 additional teams, as I mentioned, introduced those City Connect jerseys in 2022. The Rockies, they had a first design with a green base, and this one wasn't very good, folks. Purple accents, Colorado written on the front panel, and of course a special logo on the cap resembling the state's license plate, which is not very exciting, I have to say. In 2023, white pants were added as the alternate during the day games, with green pants, yes, green, being used for night games. Why? I have no damn clue. Of course, those were retired about a year ago. And of course, soon to be replaced with yet another one. But imagine a team that is technically purple, white with black outlines and lettering going to green and whatever. It just didn't make sense. They're just horrific jerseys, in my opinion. How about the Astros? Their first design, a navy-based tequila sunrise accents, of course, suggestive of the 70s and 80s rainbow uniforms, which were pretty cool. The old Space City stenciled in the NASA warm font on the front, and a hat with a planet revolving around a futuristic version of the H star. Now, the H star was always one of the better logos in the game, in baseball, that is. And of course, well, they've kind of used it, then they've kind of gotten away from it. Even back in 2005, they had a star. It was a black hat with a gold star that opened up almost like it looked like the star was in motion. You may or may not have seen those. Those are I don't know, a couple of decades old, but nonetheless, those weren't that bad. Houston had decent jerseys back then, but they got away from their orange, which I kind of liked the orange. I got one of those hats. It was one of the first baseball hats my mom brought me back from a trip down to Houston. I thought that was one of the greatest hats of all time. That was back when it was Nolan Ryan and J.R. Richard and Mike Scott. Three guys in the 1970s that could do what? They could throw 100 miles an hour. And they threw multiple pitches. I have to tell you, it was exciting to watch these guys pitch because, man, were they good, and they threw gas. They threw really hard. But the Astros, they bounced around a little bit with these jerseys. And their City Connect jerseys aren't completely terrible, but they're not really good either, in my opinion. The Kansas City Royals, of course, with the navy base and powder blue accents, and a stylized KC insignia in the homage, of course, to Kansas City's City of Fountains nickname. It's kind of a meh. It's kind of boring, not really exciting. Now, the Angels, they had the same thing, of course, with the sand base, red accents, Angels written across the front in honor of the beaches in sunny Southern California, which actually that's not a bad one. So the Brujas, this one was kind of fun because they actually had the Milwaukee Brewers, I call them the Brujas, of course, with a powder blue base, navy accents, yellow and white striping, a grill and bratwurst patch, the team's Brew Crew nickname, and the MKE for Milwaukee Airport code, of course, with a 414 blended in on the hat in honoring, of course, Milwaukee during the summer. And you know what they should have done is they could have used something, maybe sort of a guitar. Why a guitar? Because in case you don't know, the biggest concert in the world is held every summer, right up until the 4th of July. In fact, it goes right through the 4th of July holiday. And as a matter of fact, there are about 700 bands that play over about a 10-day stretch, thereabouts, right there on Milwaukee's lakefront, 90 miles north of Chicago. And folks, if you've never been, that is one of the greatest concerts, not only that I've been to, but I have to say it's one of the coolest things that you'll probably ever see because there's so many stages with so many bands, and it's very exciting. And honestly, folks, it's awfully hard to beat what they have to offer. Seriously. So Milwaukee, you get a big thumbs up and a little applause for you. I like the fact that Milwaukee has the grill and the bratwurst patch. That is awesome. Now, we're going from one of the best to absolutely, in my opinion, the clear-cut loser in this. Of course, San Diego, their first design with a white base, pink and mint sleeves, and San Diego on the front in honor of the cultural, both the city of San Diego and Tijuana. And of course, the uniform retired, thank God, coming right up here, replaced by a new one. But boy, those mint sleeves, it really looks like that team plays in Miami. I mean, these jerseys are absolutely atrocious. And right behind them are the Washington Nationals' first design. Of course, it has the pink accents with the printed cherry blossoms in honor of the annual National Cherry Blossom Festival. I mean, look, these things are absolutely ridiculous. It's just another way for the teams to bilk money from the unsuspecting fans. And of course, in 2023, 6 teams wore the City Connect uniforms. Atlanta with that white blue sleeves and red accents, heavily inspired by the team's 1974 season. And, of course, home uniform worn by the great Henry Aaron when he surpassed Babe Ruth with 715th home run. I'm okay with those. They're not too terribly bad. The Orioles with their black stripes and white accents, and the jersey inspired by the Baltimore and, of course, its neighborhoods, which I don't know if that means there's burning buildings, guns. Italicized B, commonly used, of course, on the Orioles away jerseys. For the jersey, it featured the word Baltimore in bold caps and white lettering. On the collar and piping, it features colors and shapes of the neighborhoods in Baltimore, the city itself. Again, I wonder if it's city ruins or burning buildings or whatnot, but that's one of the really bad ones, I have to tell you, folks. The Cincinnati Reds, of course, with that black base, red accents. The jersey featured a diamond-shaped C on the cap and jerseys, and it's also featured the word Cincy, nickname for Cincinnati, in case you don't know. Across the chest, on the collar, it features an Ohio Buckeye. And under, it's the motto of Cincinnati, Junta Jumvant, strength of unity in English. I mean, Cincinnati, I really expect a hell of a lot more from you. That one's not very good. And now, almost as bad as the Pittsburgh Pirates, these are just as bad. With the gold base, black accents, jersey and pants colored similar to the flag of Pittsburgh. The jersey features the abbreviation PGH. And the uniform, of course, features a custom print with 3 elements with the inverted Y, the asterisk, and cheeks. Inside the PGH and the numbers on the back features the pattern located on the city and the Three Sisters Bridge. Whatever. These are really piss poor, in my opinion. Seattle with a dark blue base, yellow lettering, black pants, features a patch of the jersey sleeving Mount Rainier, and of course, as well as the PNW, an acronym for Pacific Northwest. And the uniform also features the colors of Amarillo, Rush Blue, Sundown representing the inaugural colors of the team, as well as Seattle across the chest. Not very good, but it's supposed to be in honor of the Seattle Pilots. And the Rangers, we'll get back to you in just a little bit, folks. Back here on the Circus in just a few, and we're going to try to finish up with these City Connect things and move on from there in the next segment. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
That's ridiculous.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for an upcoming guest, a prior guest, lots of good guests previously on this program as well as coming up as well. Also, make sure you check out the store tab right across the top of thesportscircus.com. Lots of great items over there, American-made, hand-embroidered, and yes, hats, shirts, coats, sweatpants, pillows, coffee mugs, travel mugs, all kinds of neat stuff, blankets, who knows, all kinds of great stuff. Check out the Sports Circus store at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great stuff, great gift ideas. And remember, if you mention me, your Ringmaster Sal, you might get an extra 10% off, folks. You never know. Actually, you will. That's one of the plugs, of course, for thesportscircus.com. A shameless plug, of course, for thesportscircus.com. All right, welcome back to everybody, TV, radio, everybody also streaming on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer. What else? Let's see. We have, well, of course, all your others like the streaming platforms such as Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. We're all over the place, folks. You can't get away from us. All right, welcome back to everybody. You know, you are back with these City Connect jerseys, and I'm beating this to a pulp. You know why? Because a lot of people have asked me to cover this. And so I'm like, I'm going to cover this. Like it or not, I'm going to go through these. And it's not just baseball either. But I'm going to leave off. I left off with the Texas Rangers, of course, with that cream base, 2023 that is. Cream base, black lettering, pants and cap, red numbers. Jersey features Texas abbreviation TX on the left side of the jersey. It also features in the cap, but with white lettering. And the sleeves of jerseys feature a peagle, a mix between a panther and an eagle, representing the Fort Worth Panthers and Dallas Eagles, two former minor league teams that were based in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Very unexciting, but then again, of course, we go to 2024, and we have 8 more teams revealing these, and the Dodgers, of course, their second one. So the Philadelphia Phillies with a blue gradient base, white and yellow accents. The uniform's colors are based on the flag of Philadelphia. Jerseys features Philadelphia's name, Philly, across the chest in white lettering. The cap features, of course, a Liberty Bell with the skyline of Philadelphia inside the 2 stars on each side. And honestly, I'm kind of glad they didn't go as far as to put one of those blasted, awful Philly cheesesteak sandwiches on the jersey. Hey, look, Milwaukee put a brat on theirs, so why wouldn't Philadelphia do that? I would imagine Chicago maybe would have put an Italian beef sandwich on there, right? Now, that'd be great. Or a pizza. Pizza for Chicago would be absolutely ideal. Nonetheless, the New York Metropolitans, they have, of course, a... Why is that? Jersey features New York City's abbreviation of NYC across the chest. Cap features the Mets NY logo, along with the Queensboro Bridge, which connects, of course, the boroughs of Manhattan and Queens. And the purple colors was inspired by the 7 actual subway line that runs to Citi Field. Again, rather uneventful. I'm looking at a picture of it, and gotta tell you, folks, you don't need to see it. The Tampa Bay Rays with a grit black base and neon lettering. The jersey features the city name, first since 2007, outlined in neon across the chest, which features lettering similar to the old school Devil Rays. Their road jerseys from 98, 99, and 2000. Cap features sunshine Skyway Bridge. If you haven't been on that, well, that connects basically the St. Pete area all the way to the, what is that, the Bradenton area. That's what it was, Bradenton. Okay, little old person moment here. Anyway, that's the Skyway, that's the Sunshine Bridge. And, of course, crosses into St. Pete along with the Stingray, the old school Skyray is what they're saying. Another logo features 3 palm trees and a pelican with several ties to the area. 3 Palms logo can be seen on a Florida historical marker, such as the one located at the Perry Harvey Senior Park, along known as Bro Bowl, Florida's first public skate park and first to be listed on Indian National Registry of Historic Sites. And the pelican, of course, featured on the flag of St. Pete and is a nod to the St. Pete Pelicans, who played in the Florida State Negro Baseball League from 1940s and 1950s. Now, the Detroit Tigers, with a navy blue gradient base and white lettering, the jersey features the Detroit's nickname Motor City across the chest in white lettering, while the cap, which is dark navy blue, features the city's name across in white lettering. The uniform is, of course, to pay attention to the automotive industry. Not really the worst one in the world. How about the Cleveland Guardians? Mercy. Just when you go from bad to worse. Look, you've already got rid of Chief Wahoo, who was one of the best of the best. Now you're going to the Cleveland Guardians. And now let's just make matters worse, and we'll go with the Cleveland Guardians with a dark blue base, of course, with the lettering CLE or CLE right across the chest. I mean, these are really bad, folks. Across the chest, of course, as I mentioned, it features red and white striping, and the cap features a dark blue-shaped C along with white and dark blue letters. Uniform is to pay tribute to the Guardians of Traffic statues. Yes, their team is named after statues, believe it or not, at the Hope Memorial Bridge. What a complete disaster and debacle for the city of Cleveland. Hell, they should have went right back to maybe the Cleveland Spiders or something like that. I don't know, or the Cleveland My River's on Fires, if you know what I mean. That would have probably been a little bit more appropriate. The Cardinals, of course, with the red base, white pants. Jersey features the nickname The Lou, which I gotta tell you, folks, I mean, that's kind of really driving this thing to a racial direction that I wouldn't necessarily would identify with everybody in the greater St. Louis market. Not for 1 minute. Even for my friends and my colleagues down in St. Louis, they have told me they absolutely despise the Lou on their jerseys, and for a host of reasons that you'll have to research on your own. And of course, as it looks like the regular Cardinals logo with the 2 Cardinals on it with the baseball bat, which is cool, but the Lou on there is absolutely awful. And so, unfortunately, it features a river lining to symbolize, of course, the Mississippi River, which runs right next to St. Louis, and the cap is red and white. Features St. Louis abbreviation of STL across in white lettering, with features, of course, the font from their 1920s uniform. How about just going back to the 1920s uniform in the first place? Now, that makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. Toronto, with a pitch blue base and red and blue accents, the jerseys feature the city name along with the skyline of Toronto, all in neon. The cap features the split T logo in red and blue along with a maple leaf, which in front of the flag of Toronto. Rather uneventful, unexciting, but it is what it is, folks. And of course, you've got the Minnesota Twins, the Twinkies, with their jerseys. And look, yes, we're beating this to death because we want you to know what's out there, what has been out there, what is available. If you're looking to buy one of these blasted jerseys, folks, trust me, you could do it. You spend a whole bunch of money on them too. I don't know, but me, frankly, I don't think I would buy really any of these. I guess I'm just kind of an old head when it comes to baseball uniforms, and I just like tradition. I don't like the way the game has changed. I don't like a lot about what's going on with baseball, and I certainly don't like these jerseys. So the Minnesota Twins with that MN across on the lettering, of course, they're integrating the old North Star skate nickname and the state nickname. I get it. They used to be the Minnesota North Stars in hockey, which was one of the cooler logos. Then they moved down to Dallas, which is actually a pretty good match, being the Dallas Stars. So that one kind of works. But the Minnesota Wild for hockey, now that we're going in a different direction here. Don't like it. The Dodgers, of course, with their scripted D in dusk blue. Don't really like it. And now in 2025, we're going to blow through these real quick. The Diamondbacks with their new city uniforms. They've got that. The Red Sox did the same thing, a new city uniform with yellow and a regular rotating third jersey, I guess. The White Sox, of course, yet a new one in 25. Rocks in 25, of course, was split between light blue and purple, which actually are back to purple, at least to a degree. The Astros, I really don't like that one. It says Stros across it. That's pretty weak. Sorry. And then you've got, of course, the logos for the sponsors on their shoulders anyway. The Miami Marlins, yet another one. The Giants with theirs with a black base, white lettering, jersey features the name in white lettering. And, of course, the image of a lava lamp is meant to flow like sound. I don't even know where this one goes. And it goes back to Fillmore Stage, lights and whatnot, back in the Haight-Ashbury district. I get all that stuff. But you got to be real localized to San Francisco to understand that one, folks. And, of course, then you've got the Nats with the Washington Nationals with their big block W that's on there. And it's just not very good. Padres are going to issue yet another one, et cetera, and so forth in the following year and whatnot. And look, you can look at these and say, hey, these are pretty cool. But then again, you say, well, what is the point? The point is to do what? Is to sell more jerseys. That's really what it comes down. Let's sell more jerseys in the grand scheme of things. And all we want to do is do what? Make more money. That's all this is really about. And frankly, it's kind of embarrassing for Major League Baseball and the teams and the ownership to have to do that. In the same light, it's just as embarrassing as the personal seat licenses. And then you say, well, what about the winning records? Well, the Red Sox, of course, have done pretty well with their jerseys. But in the grand scheme of things, look, it's really no big deal. It's just another shirt to sell the general public. And that's the worst part about it, folks. I think the public's getting ripped off of these jerseys. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Back here with something different here on the Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA. The only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com. Again, for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, which are found on all streaming platforms. Also, make sure you head on over to the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. One of those partners is the country music artist Jason Owens. Check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. That's Jason Owens, country music artist. This guy is an up-and-coming rising star, played Vegas over 150 times. Have to tell you, folks, a lot of people like him. He plays the big houses, too. The giant MGM Grand Resorts. He plays the Resort World International Hotel and Casino. Also, Old Red. I mean, that's the, if I'm not mistaken, that's the Blake Shelton place. And there's about 5 or 6 of those across the country and big markets. I got to tell you, this guy is good. He is really fun. The crowd likes him. And guess what? Even if you don't like country music, you're going to like this guy. Jason Owens, a very good guy, good music, really gets the crowd going. Again, check him out at jasonowensmusic.com. All right, welcome back, everybody. You know who you are. I said we're going to do something different, and we had Brian Urlacher lead us back in from break. Thank you, Brian, for that. And, we're going to switch into football a little bit because, they don't really have these alternate, well, I guess some of them have alternate jerseys, but they don't do the city connecting like the baseball does and the basketball. Boy, the basketball jerseys, in my opinion, are just awful. Anyway, and basketball jerseys typically, historically, have not been really cool. They've just been pretty awful, I guess, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I mean, timeless ones like the Lakers or the Celtics or the Bulls or even the blasted New York Knicks and the original Detroit Pistons. I mean, those are pretty good jerseys, I guess. But generally speaking, boy, there's been some really bad jerseys out there. Mercy. I guess the Washington Bullets one from way back in the day was pretty good, but I guess the name was rather politically incorrect or something to that effect. Not really sure which one it is, but either way, somebody decided, well, it's not a good idea to have the Washington Bullets, change them to the Wizards, and boy, they haven't won anything since that. Anyway, ask yourself, do professional teams reuse jerseys? Right, you figure with all the money they make, whether it's an alternate jersey or this, that, and the other, do they actually do that? Well, apparently professional teams typically have the finances, as we know, to allow for new gear every game. Now, we know that with the mad amounts of money, time and cutbacks and whatnot and all this other garbage. Well, guess what? You could wash the jerseys and probably match the cost, but they say, well, it's more efficient for us. Just go ahead and get new ones here. Now, if they're donating the other ones, maybe using them for charity or whatnot, the used jerseys, now that's one thing. It's only for funding, I think, for this, that, and the other, which makes a little bit of sense instead of ripping off the fans. That's how I see it. But then again, that's just one guy's opinion, and what does my opinion matter, right? I mean, that's how you got to look at this one. And then, since we're on this one, we're talking more about football, do players actually pay for the jerseys they give to fans? We see that after a touchdown or some kind of a great play or before a game or after a game. And look, those shirts can be exchanged for an opponent's jersey or passed on to friends and family. But there is a strict rule in place. Players must pay for the cost of each shirt that needs replacing. But look at their costs. So maybe if you go out and buy an NFL jersey, it might cost you maybe $250, something to that effect. But what's the real cost? It's probably about $10, $10 or $15, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But it can't be much. I mean, hell, you can buy the knockoff ones in China for $10. But in any event, yeah, the player actually has to give them back or give them the money. And of course, when you think about how come they don't wash them? Do they wash them? Well, guess what? NFL teams actually use industrial-sized washers in some cases and the dryers to get the job done in their laundry rooms. But yet, in a conflicting statement, they say that, well, no, we don't have to. NFL players get to choose whatever they want to choose, but generally speaking, they do wash the jerseys. In case you don't know, how about wearing cups? Since we're on the discussion of that, well, yeah, NFL players are generally paid a certain amount, but then again, do they wear cups? We'll get into that in just a minute. Now we'll talk about it now. Cups actually inhibit the ability to run, in case you didn't know, and actually can end up causing more damage than what they're protecting. So let's say your stuff falls out of your cup, and then the cup is impacted, you can pretty easily lose some parts, if you know what I mean. So no, football players don't wear those things. We'll kind of leave it like that by just calling them those things. Now, there are a lot of different rules around football, different items, I guess, that they wear, different things that they may or may not wear, being the players. And you ask yourself, well, what is realistic? What's logical? What makes the most sense? And in the grand scheme of things, when we're looking at what the players actually wear, what they don't wear, you know what they do wear? They wear a helmet. And of course, Riddle, being that company that has their name on everything, their SpeedFlex helmets, in case you didn't know, run about $400. And that is the third-ranked helmet in the NFL's lab test. Now, there's another one. The Schutz's newest helmet cost about $700, while the Vengeance Pro is another helmet the NFL gave rave reviews on, cost about $300. Now, mind you, that's a few years old, so who the hell knows what it is right now? And you ask, well, do NFL players have to pay for balls they give to fans? Now, there's another question. Because we see all these things on television, but we don't really know who pays for this stuff. So the reality is, handing a ball to a fan is a safe and free way to share the joy of a touchdown, and the league's rules aim to promote sportsmanship, player safety, and fan protection while ensuring celebrations remain respectful to the game. Well, that's a whole nother discussion. But yeah, you can actually give a ball to a fan, and it doesn't cost you anything. So that's not a bad deal. Now, how about those NFL jerseys? What do the players actually make? So let's say you're wearing Patrick Mahomes' jersey, for example. It's just an example. I don't even know what the real numbers are. But when it comes to jersey sales, NFL players receive a portion of the proceeds, in case you didn't know. And specifically from April 2021, players receive about 2/3 of the proceeds from the jersey sales. So if the jersey costs $300, guess what? Player makes $200 just on that jersey alone. And the remaining third, of course, goes to the players' union, which then puts some of that money into a pool for all players. And I would dispute that because I don't think they do. But how about the idea of, yes, protective gear with the jock strap? Why don't players' jock straps actually have backs? How about a little overview first? The old jock strap, of course, are designed with a back primarily to enhance comfort, freedom of movement, and ventilation, especially during athletic activities. And the lack of fabric at the back minimizes restrictions and allows for a wider range of motion, which is crucial for sports, in case you don't know. And the open back also promotes better ventilation. So if you're passing gas, I guess that's probably the easiest way to do it. So, I'm not really sure, but folks, I mean, these are things we got to consider. And of course, it also helps to keep the wearer cool and dry. And so think about the increased mobility. You know, nobody ever talks about this, but we're talking about it here on the circus because it's a circus and we prove it every day. But a more detailed explanation talks about mobility, and the absence of a back allows for greater flexibility and freedom of movement, which is particularly important for athletes engaged in sports like football, baseball, or gymnastics. And improved ventilation, of course, we know what that's all about. The open back designs for better airflow, for those of you that eat beans before you play, reducing the risk of heat and moisture buildup as well, which can certainly be uncomfortable and hinder performance. And of course, it's not really bulky either. That's one good thing. The backless design contributes to a lighter and more streamlined feel, minimizing the likelihood of bunching or shifting during the movements. Basically, you've got players picking their shorts out of their ass, and that's really what that comes down to, if you know what I mean. That's right. So that's why you don't see players pulling their shorts out of their backside. Now, of course, it's a very comfortable situation, too, and of course, the lack of fabric on the back and the pressure points and overall discomfort, especially during prolonged physical activity in warmer weather. So believe me, that open back really helps out a lot. And so now we're on the subject of undergarments. How about this? How about, do men wear a bra in football? How do you like that? Well, it looks like a sports bra, but in fact, they're athletic vests designed to hold GPS trackers. How do you like that? So you have technology and you're getting radio frequency through your bra, so to say. And those vests need to be skin tight to the pod, of course, that actually wears and acquires the data. So if it's not going to read properly. In the same idea of wearing one of those Fitbit watches and stuff like that. I wear one when I ride my bicycle, and so it's the same kind of idea. It's got to fit snug on you. Now, of course, that data, that tracker is in the back of the vest, which, of course, can monitor their player's performance. Hence the look of a sports bra, but do they wear one? Apparently they do. But how often do they replace the helmets? Well, as it's said, they do it every week. Every week, imagine that. And so you say, well, geez, boy, that's a lot of money being spent. How about the ball boy? How much does the ball boy make? Believe it or not, ball boy's typical salary is $50,000 a year. However, some sources suggest a slightly higher amount of $53,000. But guess what? That's pretty damn good. And let's face it, there's a little bit of influence. Of course, some teams may offer slightly higher or lower salaries. Experienced ball boys make a little bit more money. And what's the role? There might be a slight difference in pay depending on the specific duties. Maybe they work for when Tom Brady and the Deflategate New England Patriots were out there. Maybe he got paid, I don't know, maybe a little bit more. Other considerations, of course, backup ball boys, weekly pay. How about the idea they may be paid a weekly salary of $12,000 seasonal pay, some of them up to $200,000. That's insanity, folks. Complete lunacy. I mean, look, the camera guys that are doing the camera operators for the NFL games, they're making on the top end just under $100,000 a year. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the ball boys are making double the price. And look what they're doing. They're handling balls, if you know what I mean. That's right. So, you scratch your head and say, well, wait, what about these guys shaving their legs? Yes, they do. And soccer players are actually more apt to do it. And look, they often shave their legs for a few key reasons: to improve comfort when taping the legs for support and making massage therapy easier. And more importantly, when they tape them up, they rip the hair right out of the legs. And that is a very, very painful proposition, folks. So if you see soccer players, you say, why do they shave your legs? That's why they shave their legs. Anyway, folks, we're out of time here on the Sports Circus. We could do this one, talk about all this whatnot for quite a while. But we're going to go ahead and shut her down right here. I hope you enjoyed today's show. It was a little bit different. We like the difference in City Connect jerseys and these little tidbits about football jerseys and hats and helmets and all this other fun stuff. Listen, folks, you don't get that anywhere else. You get it right here on the Sports Circus. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA. The only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. 800-932-5517. That's 800-932-5517.